I am with our first male interviewee of the series, Nick Goss, who is a project engineer for GKN Aerospace in Portsmouth. Nick, you have been an absolute beacon of light, as far as I'm concerned, in working with the teams on creating the Women in Aviation and Aerospace Charter. Can you tell me a little bit about what your involvement has been so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got involved with the charter at its launch at Farnborough Air Show in 2018. I volunteered to read a press release for Catherine Bennett, and things rather escalated from there, it has to be said. So I spent a week at Farnborough running around getting people's photographs for the charter for the launch event, and then I think with a lot of other people involved in the charter, felt like I wanted to stay involved with it and make it more than just a piece of paper that people signed. And so at the time I was seconded to the Aerospace Growth Partnership as a program manager, where I was kind of facilitating working groups and all of that kind of thing. And so I kind of took that role and brought it to the Women in Aviation and Aerospace Charter and set about creating a structure for the charter to work from, and make sure that this became more than just that piece of paper, I guess.
Which is brilliant. Having that framework has really helped to be part of a group co-creating the wonderful entity that is the charter. For anyone watching, what kind of things need to happen in bringing something like this to fruition?
I think the biggest thing that I seem to do is nag people, basically. I spend my life chasing people for dates and commitments and actions, just to get people to say what they're going to do, when they're going to do it by, and then actually making sure that it happens. So I think quite often with these things, everybody sees the press releases and the websites and all the kind of content that gets produced. So I guess my role has been behind the scenes in kind of helping make sure that those things all happen when they should happen. I can't take anywhere near as much responsibility as some of the other people, but I like to think that I've played at least a small part in getting a lot of these things across the line.
So what are you getting personally out of being involved? Why would a young man be involved in creating a charter for women?
Yeah, it's something I get asked a reasonable amount, actually, around why I'm involved. And I guess I've always had a love of aviation and aerospace, and I've always been passionate about engineering and about aviation, and kind of in general. And I think I've always felt a kind of responsibility to debunk some of the myths that surround engineering and around aerospace as a kind of male-dominated sector or career path. I've always been involved in the kind of STEM skills kind of workforce bits. So I did a comment to the skills working group of the Aerospace Growth Partnership, talking about how we inspired future generations. And I think that's really important, to make sure that we inspire a broad cross-section of people to come and join our organisations, because without that, I don't think we'll be the thriving industry that we need to be. It also helps to kind of challenge some of my perceptions. I'm often in a room where I kind of fit the box, if you like. I'm a white male normally in a blue shirt or a grey suit or whatever, and I kind of fit in, whereas there's still this kind of lack of diversity in these rooms. And I think the more I'm involved with the charter, the more I realise how important that diversity of thought is. I think historically we've seen engineering, and I think it's true of aerospace and other sectors, where engineering recruits people like me, kind of people go back to their university and get involved in careers events, and by doing that's brilliant. But I think in doing so, you often end up looking for people like you. I don't think there's enough focus on, well, who are the people not like me that we might be missing here? So kind of throughout my apprenticeship and throughout my career, I've been involved in STEM events that has been with kids of all ages. And at 5 or 6, the girls are, if anything, more interested in what we're saying than the boys are. The boys are trying to take lumps out of one another, frankly. But what do we do that puts the girls off between that early age and when they're actually then picking their career path? I also think that we're at a really exciting time in the industry with sustainability coming to the fore, and there's lots of studies that talk about females being attracted to careers where they're problem solving. And I was at a parliamentary event for the Charter a little while ago, and we had a great speaker on the panel from Rolls-Royce, and she said, I didn't join Rolls-Royce because I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. I joined Rolls-Royce because I wanted to do something about climate change. And that really made me kind of sit back and think about what it is that I do as a job and the impact that I can have. And I mean, I would never have got that different insight had I not been involved in something like the Charter. So it's really helping to kind of open my eyes and make me assess what I want to get out of it, as well as what it needs to deliver for other people. I also think you mentioned me being the first sort of male interviewee at the start of this. I think being a male advocate is really important for this issue. I think I don't want it to be seen as, well, you're not going to get recruited or promoted because you're white, middle class, male, or whatever. What I see my role is in promoting the right person for the right job.
Yes, and that's a great point, and it's lovely to have you in the interviewers hotspot, because having a man speak to this is great. What do you think would be possible for the industry if most of the current leaders are white and male? What could be possible if they embraced the Charter? What would you like to see happen, and what could be possible?
I think as an industry, and I think most people would say this, we seem to never learn the lessons of history. We always fall into the same traps and we get the same problems coming up time and time again. And you do have to take a step back sometimes and think, well, is that because we're doing things the same way we've always done them by the people who have always done them? So I think somebody once said to me, what is important around these tables is diversity of thought. And frankly, it doesn't matter who's giving you that diversity of thought, so long as you get it. That's what's going to really deliver you new ways of working and make you better at what it is you do in your day-to-day work. It doesn't matter if those people are female or male, white or from an ethnic minority. It doesn't matter fundamentally. And I think certainly I feel that from my generation. Is that different from previous generations? Well, probably, but that's what I feel is really important here, and I think that's the only way that we're going to see the changes we want in our lifetime, is by embracing that diversity of thought.
It's music to my ears listening to you and your passion, and I know that the company that you work for, GKN, has sponsored a brand new report by Corn Ferry, which we're going to be launching in the next few days. So I don't want to give too much away about it. But what has made GKN, because it's all about the actual state of gender roles and ratios in the industry today, authored by Anne-Marie Taylor and team, and you have to come and listen to the conversation on Wednesday, the 11th of November at 10:30 a.m. But Nick, what made your company back this report?
I think I've been enormously lucky with the support that I've had from GKN. So I got involved when I was out of the business and on secondment. And I remember being at the launch event at Farnborough in 2018 and being approached by, I think there was 3 or 4 women from GKN who came to that event and sought me out and said, look, we didn't know anything about this until today. We can see that GKN have signed up. We really need to kind of take the bull by the horns here and do something with this. And one of those people was Susan Schofield, who has been incredibly powerful in this arena since then. So we struck up a conversation after the launch event, and we said, right, what are we going to do here to really make a difference? And Susan comes from that kind of more engineering kind of background like me, and we were very aware that there's a lot of sort of emotional conversations that happen around diversity as a whole, let alone gender diversity. And so I think we both felt that it was really important to have something on which we can hang these conversations and say, look, we're not just trying to make the world a better place for women in our workplaces, which is of course what we're trying to do, but we were trying to take a step back and say, right, what is the problem that we're trying to address here? What is the data that backs us up? And this is me as an engineer now talking. Without data to back some of these things up, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to end up with emotional conversations that say, well, this is the right thing to do. And that may well be the case, but unless you can go, and here's why, I think you're onto a bit of a losing battle. I think for GKN as a whole, they really felt, like all of the companies that signed the charter at Farnborough in 2018 did, that they weren't just going to sign a bit of paper and not do anything with it. They really wanted to commit to the charter, and they saw this report as a way to do that. So Susan, by the time we were starting to discuss the report, said, okay, I'll put my hand up and I'll lead the work package around research and reporting, and really did get the bit between her teeth and ran with this. And then we've been supported by the hierarchy in GKN. So a lot of our senior leaders have all said, gender diversity is important for us as a business. Not only is it just fundamentally the right thing to do, but it also makes us a better company. We will perform better financially if we have the diversity that we should have within the organisation. And that's backed up by all kinds of studies. And so this report was a way to go, here is our evidence that says this is the right thing to do. And we as a leading tier one supplier in the aerospace industry have a responsibility to the industry in which we work and the communities in which we work to go, this is the right thing to do. Here's how we intend to set about solving this challenge, and how we can bring other companies along with us.
And that's brilliant. And I think what you're saying there really speaks to the fact that it's really easy to get involved with helping co-create the charter. Companies, you can sign up in various levels, and Nick will be, I believe, the point of contact or one of them to enable you to do that. So you don't have to sign up as a full signatory. There are other ways in which you can support, and there are ways in which you can get involved in the various working groups helping to create and make the charter, bring it into fruition. Nick, I have to ask you, the whole theme we've got in around the charter and around the report is passion into purpose now. How is your passion translating into purpose?
I think, and I kind of touched on this earlier, I guess, but I've always had a passion about aerospace and aviation, and I knew from a young age that I was going to either go and be a pilot or go and be an engineer. That was kind of a given for me. I had a granddad who was kind of instrumental in that, sitting me in the cockpit of aeroplanes, me and my brother as a really young child, and I think that kind of has driven this passion around aerospace. For me, through my involvement in the Aerospace Growth Partnership and kind of getting an awareness of the sector as a whole, we have a really exciting world-leading industry in the UK that is almost peerless in some ways. I mean, we're second or third to the Americans, or potentially to the French, if you or the Chinese. But we have an opportunity here to be world leaders. We have a huge amount of history, and we have a huge amount of potential to lead this industry going forward. And I think unless we inspire the next generation in the right way, and make sure that we're getting that diversity of talent coming into the industry, well, we're never going to fulfill the potential that we have. I mean, the jet engine was invented in the UK, and there's no reason why we led that kind of first aerospace revolution. There's no reason why we can't be leading the second aerospace revolution as we electrify and we become more and more sustainable.
Wonderful. What a great conversation. Thank you, Nick. And if anybody wants to learn from more about the new report, tune in on Wednesday, the 11th of November at between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. And if you're watching this beyond the event, the contact details for both the live stream and the information afterwards will be on the slide at the end of this video. Nick, Goss, thank you so much.
Thanks, Liz.